Our Father in heaven is the judge. He is the one who looks down upon us and sees our actions and judges us with righteousness and truth. Though he does say that we should appoint judges and law enforcement in order to follow his laws and enforce them amongst us, there is something that happens when a judge takes too much of the authority for himself. Because God says that we should enforce his laws amongst our communities, but he doesn't say that about everything. He doesn't say that there should be some tyrannical government that's trying to control all aspects of people's lives. And unfortunately, that's what happens all too often in religious societies and in secular societies. Governments close in on the people and try to control them for all that they're worth. This is found in Jewish law, and it's quite concerning to me, because in two of the most important things relating to Judaism and relating to family and community life, the rabbis and the Orthodox courts try to go for a power grab and take the authority to themselves. The two matters that I'm referring to are marriage and conversion. Marriage marks the certification of a union between a man and a woman. A man and a woman is what makes up the human species. The most important union on earth is the connection between a man and a woman. God tells man right from the start, leave your father and mother and cling to your woman and become one flesh. The relationship between a man and a woman is so deep that it can hardly be described in words. Yet it is paramount that man and woman find one another, engage with each other in a way of holiness and commitment, and build a family together and fulfill God's blessing to be fruitful and multiply as he has commanded. Yet, despite the fact that marriage is a biological function and men and women coming together is just as natural as the sun rising in the morning, you have institutions that try to say that it's up to them to certify the marriage, that it's up to them to tell you when and how you could be married and when and how you can sleep together. And this is highly disingenuous, because that's not at all what God says in his commandments. What God says is when a man takes a woman and becomes her husband, that's the process of marriage. The process of marriage is a man and a woman entering into a true bond with one another, where they are accountable to each other in every single way. That's something that is between them, between the man and the woman as individuals. And yes, there will be witnesses, because their family and friends will see what they're doing. They'll see that they're living together as husband and wife, and they will proclaim their marriage for all to know. But the idea that it needs to be done through a certain set of rules and rituals that are not at all found in the Old Testament is just a way for the system to get involved and get in the way and say, we're the ones who tell you when you may kiss the bride. We're the ones who tell you when you may sleep with your wife. And that's so controlling and so tyrannical for institutions to make their way into the bedroom, to make their way into people's private lives, and to try to say that only through the process that we condoned and only through the way that we tell you you need to do it, that's when your marriage holds water. That's when your union means something under God. So what I would say to men and women is find each other, come together in holy matrimony, in true commitment, and have children and build families and let the world know that you're a couple, not because some institution or system or rabbi or priest or government official told you that you're married, but rather you're married because your word matters and because your commitment matters, and you wouldn't break that for anything in the world. Additionally, conversion. Conversion is the process in which someone who is born outside of the Jewish people could actually join the congregation of Yahweh, can join the congregation of the children of Israel, and actually begin to live amongst the Jewish people and follow the laws in the Torah, and therefore be graced with all of the blessings and responsibilities that come along with that. Again, you will find the religious organizations grabbing hold of the power in that scenario. And they say, you are only considered a convert if we acknowledge you as a convert. You have to go through all of our testing and training, and you have to read all of our books until we watch you immerse in a ritual bath, and then we will proclaim you a Jew. This is not in the Bible whatsoever. In fact, the word for a convert in the Bible is ger, which means a sojourner, which means someone who lives and dwells amongst the Jewish people. As opposed to a native of Israel, you have a sojourner who comes and lives amongst the Jews. And what it says in the Bible is that there is one Torah for both the sojourner and the native, because people who truly give themselves over to God, no matter what their background is, they are a part of his covenant. Because Judaism is not only a bloodline coming from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because Abraham is the father of multitudes of nations. And truly, all people can unite under the universal principles of the Bible. And an individual who wants to live amongst the people of Israel and wants to follow the decrees in the Torah fully, they will then be considered a Jew in the eyes of God. And that is the key word, in the eyes of God. Whose judgment really matters? Whose decrees really stand the test of time? It is God. And the fact that people want to get in the way of the individual and God, and the fact that people want to get in the way of your marriage meaning something, or your conversion meaning something, and your commitments to God are only worth something if they're acknowledged by the governing system, that is ultimately just slavery, because it says you are not free to express your individual uniqueness and your own connection to God. Rather, you're subservient to a system that tells you whether you're worthy, a system that tells you whether you're allowed to get married or whether you're allowed to convert. And that's wrong, because all that matters is what your observance is and what your actions are as you follow through with your commitments before God. And the witnesses are there for everyone to see, because when people observe you following through with your commitments, and people observe you following God beyond what any documents and court systems and governments can prove, because the soul is stronger than all of it, and God sees through all the lies. So all that matters is what's going on between you and God.